Hello everybody, it's Dana Sullivan, the Stampin' Chick, here with the June 2021 Expressions in Color Paper Pumpkin Kit. Finally, oh my goodness, it is absolutely gorgeous! Okay, if the box is any indication for what's inside the kit, which of course we already know it is an absolutely stunning Paper Pumpkin month. So let me just check to make sure I'm where I need to be. And hello, thank you so much for joining. So if you're seeing the red live button up here in the corner on Facebook, I am live to do the unboxing, put together the projects for the kit, and show you some alternative projects. If you're watching on Facebook and there's no red live button, that means you're watching the replay. So thank you so much for stopping by. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you're definitely watching on the replay. So thank you so much for watching. All right, friends, let's get to it, shall we? This kit is so pretty. So let me open it up. This month's kit features the Expressions in Ink / artistically inked product collection in the annual catalog. We have 3 different designs of 3 different cards, so you get to make 9 cards with this month's kit, and they're just as gorgeous as the box is, aren't they? I'm in love with that watercolor. It is so pretty. So you included a flyer that has the Expressions in Ink Designer Series paper, and it talks about the paper and the colors, and it gives you a glimpse at the colors and the paper, and it gives you the ability to use the QR reader on your phone, which, if you don't know how to do that, most new smartphones, you just have to put your phone on the camera and then point it at the little graphic, and it amazingly will just take you right to the website, or it'll pop up the website link and you click it. It's incredible. Technology is amazing sometimes. So anyway, it tells you a little bit about the Expressions in Ink Designer Series paper on there. And then the stamp set is just beautiful. There's another little watercolor splotch here, which I love, because if I bring in the artistically inked stamp set, it doesn't match exactly. So it coordinates perfectly, but it doesn't match. So if I have this Stampin' Die bundle and I have this stamp set, I have an additional watercolor stamp, which is fabulous because those stamps are so pretty. All right, and then we've got some amazing sentiments here. You are amazing. Thanks for everything. Sending hugs, many congratulations, and some little ephemera elements here. We've got a sprig, a little floral centerpiece, a little flower, and then a flower cluster, which is very pretty. And this coordinates with the dies in the artistically inked bundle as well. Okay, now another wonderful feature about this month's kit is that you get not only 1 but 2 ink spots this month, which is so cool. One of them is Evening Evergreen and is one of the ink colors for 2021 to 2023, and the other one is Bumblebee, which is one of the ink colors for 2020 to 2022. So you have 2 ink colors, which is great, and they're both absolutely beautiful colors. And let me go ahead and pull my kits out. And then in the kit, you've also got some really pretty sequins, which coordinate with the ephemera pack for the Expressions in Ink collection. And then some Evening Evergreen Baker's Twine. I love when they put Baker's Twine in the kits. Oh, they're so pretty. I wish we had all of these colors all the time. Okay, let me just set this out of the way and get all of this stuff moved and get right to our projects, shall we? Okay, now you guys know typically I will go ahead and pull in my full-sized ink pads And there's no reason for that specifically, just that these are already open. And so I just use them. They're close by. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I have the 3 card projects here. Let's see. Let's start with the little note card. Now, there were 2 different sizes. If you've already opened your kit, you know this. And if you haven't, well, you're about to know. There's the standard A2 size card, and then there's a smaller one that's more like a note card size. Now, you'll also notice in the kit that there are some really beautiful little vellum pieces. And along with the word thanks are 2 other words that you may not recognize, or you probably do, because, you know, thanks is almost a universal language, isn't it? So let me just grab the others here. So we have merci, which of course is thank you in French, and danke, which is thank you in German. So you have, or thanks, you have the 3 different languages, all 3 included in your kit. Don't throw these away. I mean, they're so much fun to use. If you don't speak French or German, you know, it's fine. You can put one of them on the outside. In fact, well, I'll show you one of my alternative projects. I used danke, and I've got it on my project, so I'll share that with you. A way that you can use those extra bits and not throw them away. All right, so as I'm saying, that there are these vellum elements, which are absolutely beautiful. And then if you noticed the big floral cluster right here, it actually coordinates perfectly with the die from the Artistically Inked bundle, which if you have them, you probably already know that. But for those who don't have it yet, you really want to get it because it's absolutely gorgeous. And it coordinates perfectly. So now we all know. All right, so here we go, pulling out the note card and that beautiful watercolor DSP. We've got one of the little labels with the banner ends, and then the thanks die cut vellum piece. And we're going to use the For Everything stamp and Bumblebee ink. Now, of course, because we are using photopolymer stamps, you're going to want to bring in your Stampin' Pierce mat. So go ahead and bring that in. Tap, 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 not smush, smush, smush. And then just line it up. Right in the middle. Okay. Close it up and set it aside so that I don't get ink all over me. Okay, now this card is really easy to assemble. We're just going to add a little bit of adhesive here, put it on the front of the card, just like so. And now here's a little tip for you. If you have Stampin' Seal Plus, you can use it on the back side of your vellum, and it doesn't show through very much. Sometimes not at all. If you want to, you can use the little adhesive dots and just strategically place it behind the colored areas where the font is. But otherwise, I'm just going to take some little bits of my Stampin' Seal Plus here, and I'll line it up, and I'm still going to line it up where the inked areas are, because I still don't trust the fact that adhesive sometimes shows through vellum. In fact, usually shows through vellum. So the fact that this doesn't as much is kind of a mystery to me. So let me just pull off a few little strips of the Stampin' Seal Plus. Now, Stampin' Seal is a whole different animal than Stampin' Seal Plus, for those who are asking right now. Stampin' Seal Plus is a different kind of adhesive than Stampin' Seal. Okay, so Stampin' Seal will still show, behind your vellum. So be really careful about that. Oof, I just made a mess there. Okay, forget you saw that little strip. Okay, moving along to the next one. There we go. All right. I'm going to pull that little cruddy one off there. So I'm just putting a few of these on. Well, if it wants to stick, it wants to stick. You know, this isn't really any more fun than trying to assemble those little adhesive dots. Okay, now, they've got thanks kind of up at a little bit of an angle, and then just give it a little press. Notice that you cannot see my Stampin' Seal Plus. It's like magic. All right, and then we need some of our mini dimensionals, and we're going to put the For Everything on the front. Now, friends, if you're in here with me live and you are making comments and I have not responded, please know and understand that for whatever reason, and it has everything to do with Facebook, at least I'm going to blame Facebook, I'm not able to see comments very well right now. Sometimes I can and sometimes I can't. I have to kind of refresh the comments up in my phone and my camera, and I don't really want to do that for fear of losing the live stream. So just know that if you have a comment or a question, I will go back and look at it after the video plays, and I will get back to you then, okay? All right, now, as is very typical of Paper Pumpkin, they never put anything on the inside, or at least they never tell us they do. So, you guys know me, no naked insides and no naked envelopes. So let's dress up the outside of this, or the inside of this card and that envelope, shall we? So let's go ahead and open that up. And I think I want to be fairly simple with this because the card itself is simple. So I'm going to use the Evening Evergreen and that watercolor mark. And let me grab my scrap paper here because I think I want to just go along the bottom. Now, one of the wonderful things about the watercolor marks is that even if you overlap them a little bit, it really doesn't show up too much like that. I had a wrinkle in my paper right there. That's okay. All right, so there's that. And then I'm going to do something similar to the envelope. I'm just going to put one little splotch there, and then I'm going to go across the flap of the envelope. Okay, so I'll do that. I'm hanging off the edge because I don't want there to be anything showing on this side. And I'm kind of angle my stamp just a little bit so it follows the curve of the envelope. Okay. All right, so that is card number 1. Super pretty. I love it. I love that stamp. Isn't it beautiful? I mean, that distinctive stamping mixed with the watercolor images. Oh, I'm in heaven. Okay, now let's use a couple of our little sequins here. So we'll put one here, one here, one here, and I'm just following the instruction on the tutorial itself, so I'm not going rogue too much, you know. I mean, I'll do the inside and the envelope because they don't anyway, but there we go. All right, so there's card number 1. Super pretty. I love it. All right. Let me put this together here so it's out of our way. Okay, card number 2. Let's see what we've got going on here. Oh, the yellow one. Look, we did that in order. That's cool. All right, so this one has the Bumblebee card base. It has a beautiful greenery sprig imprinted vellum that we're going to layer over the top here. We have a label that we're going to stamp congratulations in Bumblebee. And then we have these little greenery sprigs that are going to go, let's see, that one there, this one here, and this one about like that. So we're just going to layer those on top of each other, and then we'll put this right over the front. So another fairly nice and simple card, which, you know, Paper Pumpkin is wonderful for that. And it works out nicely. So let's just go ahead and put a little dot of Stampin' Seal Plus. And I'm deliberately trying to put it behind some sprigs here. Like I said, I still don't trust the fact that it doesn't show. So I'm just going to put a few little bits and then tack it down to the base. I mean, that really is magic, isn't it? It just blows my mind. Okay, for all of you who have lived with years of trying to figure out how to attach vellum to cardstock, you understand my sheer joy and excitement there. All right, so let's see here. We need the congratulations and our Pierce mat, Bumblebee ink. Okay, tap, 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 not smush, smush, smush. Line it up in the middle. There we go. Once I get finished with this, I will, let me see if I can try to get comments here. So, okay, there we go. If you guys leave a comment, maybe I can get it now. I'm not sure. Like I said, if I don't respond, I definitely will after the live is over. I will go back and I will read each and every one of your questions, comments, and I'll reply to them as well. So, all right, here we go. I'm going to use some liquid glue. Of course, if you're using your kit and just using what's inside the kit, you do have those little adhesive dots. I actually save those so that I can send them out. When I send card kits out to people that maybe haven't stamped before, or customers who have placed orders with me, sometimes I will send a card kit. And I love Paper Pumpkin for that, because we're not allowed to send stamped images, but I can send die cuts, and I can send labels, and someone can just use whatever stamp they already have on hand, right? So it works out really ticely. And so I like to include those little adhesive dots in some of those project kits. That way I know for sure that the recipient has something to adhere the project together. So it's just my little insurance policy to make sure they have everything they need. Okay. I'm putting dots, not on everything here, but just kind of tacking it down a little bit. I like it to have just a little flow so that it doesn't look quite so pressed and stiff. And I find that if you just adhere little bits, then you get that kind of fluid motion. So it's not quite so stiff and rigid. See, we can fluff them up a little bit here, and they'll look nice and not quite so flat. See? Nice. All right. Okay, so now we're going to tie a bow And on the instruction sheet, it probably tells you exactly how many inches to use, but I'm not going to look at it. I'm just going to tie a bow. Now, I will say one thing about the instructions. I am really impressed with how nice the instructions are now. I mean, they are very pretty, and they're in full color, which is amazing. And they show pictures of every step, which is also amazing. And they're definitely very user-friendly. So if you haven't had a moment to look at the paper pumpkin instructions in a while, go ahead and take a minute to look, because they really have come a long way. They look nice. Alright, I'm putting a little glue goober on the back of my bow, aka a glue dot. And I'm just going to put it kind of right there in the middle with the tails going out that way. And then we need to put congratulations up on Stampin' Dimensionals. So I'll put 1, 2, and 3. It's a long label, and I want to make sure it doesn't sag in the middle. So I definitely want that third one in there. Alright, and now this is going to go right in the middle. Just like that. Okay, beautiful. I love it. Alright, and then I'll take some of the sequins, and let's see. You know, I'll just show you how the instructions show everything. You see that it has step by step exactly what to do. It even shows you where to put adhesive dots and the rhinestones or sequins. It's just absolutely fabulous. And they used only 2 dimensionals, but look at that, I used 3. Wild child, I tell ya. Alright, so this one shows 5 sequins also, and they put 1 there, 1 there, 1 over here. Oh, my puppy's dreaming. He is so ferocious in his dreams. I don't know if you can hear his little woof, 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 woof. In real life, he's the coward of the county, but in his dreams, he is like Mighty Mouse. All right. Okay, so now for the inside of this card, maybe we want to do, let's see, maybe I want to just put a few little sprigs here. I really want to use this little stamp for something, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do it in Bumblebee. Let's see here. Just stamp. Stamp. Oh yeah, that's nice. There we go. Beautiful. I know that's really not much. It's just a little thing. But I like that it's there. So if you wanted to do something a little more dramatic, maybe we want to put this flower in the corner, and then let's put one right there in the middle. That's nice. And then let's go ahead and bring in a couple of these just to kind of match the inside of our card. Whoop. See if I can stamp over that one. Ooh, testy, testy. Ooh, look at there. Okay. Good deal. That is always a questionable thing and super brave to try on live Facebook. Okay, now maybe I want to come back in, and you know what? I'm not going to, because I will mess it up. So I'm going to stop there. All right, just stop, Dana, just stop. Okay, so this is actually listed on the instructions, I think, as project number 3. But card number 2 here, super pretty. And let me stick that inside there and move on to card number 3. And I probably need to clean my stamps right quick. Okay. Excuse me while I swipe and scrub here. There we go. All right. Now, the last card. Now, stay tuned after I finish this card because I have a handful of alternative projects to share with you too. So I know that you're excited to see those. All right. So this one is probably my absolute favorite card base. I think it's just gorgeous. I love the colors melded together. It's so pretty. And then we get to use that beautiful floral vellum piece, which is so pretty on top of that. And then we're using one of these labels. So let's go ahead and do our stamping. We're bringing in that Bumblebee ink again and the You Are Amazing stamp. So tap, 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 not smush, smush, smush. See if we can line it up. And I notice the way that I'm lining it up is I'm paying attention to the bottom edge of the green line and the top edge of the stamp itself. And then just eyeballing left to right to make sure it's centered there. And that seems to help me line it up. I'm going to say that, and then when I lift this off, it's going to be crooked. So if that's the case, disregard what I just said. It worked out good. Okay, so now that we have that done, whew. All right, let's bring our card base back in, and we're using some of the twine to wrap around the card twice. So I'm just going to lay my twine off the edge, wrap it, and I'm actually going to just wrap it once because I have only a little bit left after my alternatives and I still want to use some more, but the instructions say twice, so if you just want to bear that in mind, and you can do that if you'd like. Okay, and then I will tie this up here. Little bow. Remember how I've said before that if you pull the paper or the card fairly snug when you're tying your bow, and then when you release, it'll be even. And that's how you get a nice snug bow. Okay, so we've got that there. Super cute. I love it. Okay, now it's crooked. There we go. All right, now we're going to adhere our floral cluster piece to the card front, and it looks like it's gonna go something like this. All right, so let me grab my Stampin' Seal Plus. Again, you can use the little Stampin' dots or the adhesive dots that are in the kit and just put them in strategic places. But if you happen to have the Stampin' Seal Plus, then you can go ahead and put it on. There we go. All right. Okay, and then this needs to go on dimensionals right here. Just like that. Okay, and then bring in those beautiful little sequins, and we'll put one here, one there, one there, here. And one right there. All right, there we go. Oh, my tag is crooked. Oh, that's wonky. Why didn't you tell me? You probably did, and I couldn't see. All right, there we go. That's better. All right, now it's straight. Okay, there we go. All right, so for this card, I want to go ahead and bring in that cluster again, and, you know, maybe I don't. Maybe I want to bring in the watercolor spot. All right, so let's bring our Pierce mat in. You know what? Let me do something that I may regret. Okay, I'm gonna ink that up and stamp it off, and I'm gonna stamp it on the envelope first. That way, if I don't like it, I can always change out my envelope. Okay, so I stamped the background, and it's a little bit too light, but maybe by the time I stamp this... No, I'm not doing that. Oh my goodness, don't let me do that. I'm trying to ruin this card. Okay, clean my stamp here. I did not mean to stamp it in Evening Evergreen. What was I thinking? I meant to stamp it in the same one. Holy cow. Alright. Get off there. What are you? Okay. Alright, here we go. So I want just the watercolor background behind my flower. And let me see if it's light enough that I can stamp direct and then stamp direct. We'll see. Okay. Yeah, sort of. Okay, so I want to stamp it off just a little bit here. Give it a nice, good press. And then ink it up good and stamp it directly there. There we go. All right. Okay, let me close my ink pads. Move all those out of the way that need to be cleaned. Okay, here we go. So there is card number 3. Card number 2. And card number 1 from the kit. Super pretty, aren't they? These will make fabulous cards going out in the mail, and they will make somebody very, very happy. All right, so card 1, card 2, card 3, and now on to our alternative projects. Are you guys ready? All right. So I did several cards this time, but I also did a couple of 3D items. So I'll start with this one. It looks very similar to the card in the kit. I've used the same layer here as I did as the kit required. Or I shouldn't say required. Do what you want. It's your kit. But the instructions said to use that layer, so I did use that. I used one of the die cut floral sprigs, and I actually cut an entire sheet of them apart. So you saw how they were kind of in that tri shape, you know, little 3-wing deal. I cut them apart so that each of them were their own piece. As you can see, I've just used one corner of one here. And then I did the thanks with the long banner instead of the other shape there. And then I've done my sequins and of course tied some twine. And then I wanted to bring the polished pink into the card, so I stamped the artistically inked this one, which is probably, if I had to choose one stamp that's my absolute favorite, this is it. It makes beautiful watercolor borders, trim, designs. It's beautiful. So anyway, I put that across the bottom. So that is card alternative number 1. Alternative number 2, I did use the Evening Evergreen cardstock. I brought in some basic white background for the inside and stamped the evergreen colored splotch inside. And then on the outside, I got a piece of regular vellum from the Stampin' Up! Catalog, and I embossed it with the brick and mortar 3D embossing folder, and look at that. Oh my goodness, all of the white that you're seeing is from the crinkling of the vellum. That's what happened when I embossed it. So, I mean, that is all just embossing, which is so cool. Now I have to try all sorts of other ones too. And then I offset the layering piece. So again, it's similar to this one. But here you can see where I used Donka, and I created an outline for it and then for everything. So it gives somebody the idea of what it might be for. And then this one I absolutely love, but this is probably the simplest card that I have ever designed, ever. It's very, very simple. I took one of the die cut words and I used a Stampin' Blends marker on the back side to give it the color in the background. So this gave it kind of a softer matte look to it. And then this is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 inch of the Designer Series paper. And what I had mentioned earlier when I said that I would show you a way to use these other words in a way that someone would still be able to understand is that I stamped thanks in English on the inside. So it says Donka on the outside, thanks. And then if you can see, I used that fabulous stamp there for the bottom on the inside. So that is alternative card number 3. Alternative card number 4 uses Bumblebee cardstock with a layer of Evening Evergreen. And then I created my own DSP using the floral cluster stamp and the little small flower stamp. And I layered the 2 layers together, tied some twine, stamped You're Amazing, put it on the bumblebee so it all ties in together beautifully. And then on the inside, a basic white layer with a little corner of the matching DSP look. So I thought that one was very pretty. And let's see, project number 4. Project number 5. I used that little watercolor splotch that came with the paper pumpkin kit, so I used this one. And I created a background here. I just overlapped and layered all the way up at an angle and all the way around here. So I covered the whole thing and then just went up covering the whole area. And then you can see that my die cut piece has some color to it. You can see it's got a nice outline. It looks really, really neat. But all I did was I'm making, you know, the background here, and I did some Stampin' Blend color on the back of this one. I did petal pink, I did the fresh freesia, and then I did some Evening Evergreen for the sprigs. And then I grabbed my 90% alcohol and a water brush, and I brushed pretty much all of the color off and tapped it dry with a paper towel. So I took up most all of the color, but it left this beautiful border, and it left some tinted color in the die cut piece. So that's how I've added the color to that, but it's still semi see-through. And this is Fresh Freesia cardstock layered on Rich Razzleberry, which is the perfect layering color for Fresh Freesia, if you didn't know. And then I've stamped You're Amazing in Evening Evergreen on one of those fabulous labels. stuck a little glue dot on the end and tied a bow and added a few of my sequins from the kit. And then on the inside, as well as the envelope, I just stamped that floral cluster from the kit in Fresh Freesia so that it ties the beautiful light purple color in there. Okay, so that is alternative project number 5. As you can see, all cards. So that being said, the cards are done. I did 5 alternative cards. I hope you don't mind. You know, normally when a project kit is cards, I try to do more 3D than cards, but you know, I need thank you cards, and this was the perfect one for it. So, okay, this is one of the card bases from the kit, and I cut some of those sprigs apart. You can see here, I stamped thanks in polished pink and put some of the rhinestone, or the sequins, not rhinestones. And this cute little bag is actually a gift card holder. Isn't that sweet? So I can take this and pull my gift card out, put the gift card back in, slide that over, and tuck it back in to that adorable box. Isn't that cute? I love it. And I love this kind of mechanism too. I'm like, yee-haw! I pulled in one of those little floral sprigs and put it there just to spruce up the inside. And this is actually Blackberry Bliss. So yeah, I mentioned that that Rich Razzleberry was the perfect color for Fresh Freesia to line up with, but this card base has Blackberry Bliss in it already as well. And so it ties in better with the Blackberry Bliss than the Rich Razzleberry. It's weird how that works, but it has everything in the world to do with the fact that Fresh Freesia actually has a little bit of a pinkish red to it, more so than a blue tint. So anyway, color technology, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Rich Razzleberry goes really well on Fresh Freesia, and Blackberry Bliss goes really well on the darker of the watercolor bases. Okay, now the last project is a basic one. It's one that I've done many times before and you've seen many times before, but I need a little gift box, and this was perfect timing. So I've taken one of the Bumblebee card bases, and I actually still have the other half of it so I can use it for something else. But I turned the lid, or turned one of them into a lid, and then used a piece of basic white for the base. And all I did was score at 1 inch and then burnish and, you know, miter the corners and fold it together. Just a standard box, okay? And then I cut one of those vellum sprig background pieces, just enough to fit this one side. I've put a couple of the small little floral sprigs and little loops of the twine, stamped congratulations on one of the long banners, and then put my sequins on to decorate and embellish. And that is it. All right, friends. Wow, there were a lot of alternative projects, and I hope that you enjoyed them all. Some of them are very similar, but it doesn't matter because they're going to different people, so it's okay. I love them. I love doing these projects for you guys. Let me see if I can possibly get any comments. Okay, it's just not going to let me do it. All right. Well, if you have any comments, friends, please leave them down below. And if you're watching the replay, let me know you're watching the replay. You can still comment down below. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you know, leave a comment down below. So it all works out pretty much the same. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really enjoyed making these for you, and I hope that you enjoyed the projects as well. And if you have any questions, you can let me know. If you're not already a Paper Pumpkin subscriber and would like to be, I can hook you up with that. I'll put a link down below. And yeah, so anyway, thank you guys so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.